All right, good evening, everyone. I'm not sure why people can see me on Instagram. It's looking blank here, but I'm live on Instagram. I don't know why it's looking blank. Maybe. Okay, for those on Instagram, can you see me? Because I can't see myself and I don't know why. Yeah, okay, you can see me now. Thank you. I think it's some technology break. All right, good evening, everyone. Merry Christmas in advance. It's that time of the year again. And welcome to ATP Live Monday. And today is going to be the last ATP Live Monday for 2024. I'm so excited. And I thank you so much for having stay with me and joining every episode of ATP Live for the last 12 months. So welcome, welcome. Okay, I don't know whether you can still see me on Instagram. But I think it will come back because I refresh. So welcome to ATP Live Monday, and for those who are just joining us for the very first time, ATP Live Monday is a program where you get to ask any questions that you may have about the health of your children, and I try to answer them in 1 hour. So welcome. And like I said, we do this every Monday, apart from public holidays. And today is going to be the last episode for 2024 because come Saturday, ATP will be closing for the year 2024. And then I'll be seeing you guys in 2025. Yeah, it's been a long journey, but we thank God for keeping us safe. And I thank God for keeping me as well, and for all our children for keeping us healthy in 2024. And for those of you who are constant and consistent every Monday, thank you so much for joining us. So, welcome, welcome, everyone. And because this is going to be my last time talking to you on this platform for 2024, I'm going to wish you your Merry Christmas now and also wish you a blessed 2025. And I also want to thank all our moderators who have been so amazing, helping me in this journey. And so, thank you, everyone. And we all deserve our break. So, we're going to have a long break, and we will see you guys in 2025. So, this week is our last week. We're closing for the holiday on Saturday, December 21st at 11:59 hour p.m. And then we'll see you Monday, 6th of January. So we want you also to enjoy the time with your family, and we are also going to do the same with our family. So welcome everyone. Help us to share the videos, and then we will start. Let me just check the Instagram. People are back seeing me. Okay, good. All right, so I'm just going to share the video, which is what I'm doing right now, and then we'll be back to start taking your question. But if you have questions, start to drop your questions now. Uh, Drop your questions. Uh, any question you may have about the health of your children, you can start to drop them while I'm still just sharing the video. I'm pinning it in all our groups, and after that I'll start to answer them. But you can start to drop the questions and just give me a couple more minutes to do all my sharing and pinning, and then we can start. Thank you, everyone. Um, I hope you've had a lovely Monday. Okay, I guess I guess I'm done with all my pinning and yeah. Okay, just make sure I'm in the right place. Okay, yeah. Okay, Instagram people, yes, you can see me. Thank you so much, Major Evers. And thank you, everyone. Olabisi well, thank you for letting me know you can see me. Thank you. All right, thank everyone. Okay, so like I said, this is ATP Live Monday. So if you have any question, feel free to start asking your questions. I got 54 minutes left in 2024 to answer your questions live. However, I will still be available to answer your questions to Saturday. So even if you have any questions and you can ask your question on the live platform, don't worry. We're still going to be on ATP Facebook group till 2024 December 21st. And then we will still answer any questions that you may have. But the live session for 2024 ends today. So feel free to ask your questions now. I got a couple of questions already coming through on Facebook. So I'll try to answer them. Instagram, I can't see any questions yet, but feel free to ask your questions and then I will answer them. All right. So once again, let me welcome you all. Welcome to ATP Live Monday. I am Gbemisola Boyede. I'm a pediatrician. And my job this evening is to answer any questions that you may have about the health of your children. So feel free to ask your questions. Please, when you want to ask your questions, start with the age of the child. All right, that's very important. And if you're asking questions about the weight of your child, please tell me the birth weight and the current weight or any other weight figures that you may have. That will be helpful. I think apart from that, for those who ask questions about rashes, when we don't see them, we can't easily answer them. But if you post on our Facebook group, you can put a picture, which will be helpful. Okay, so I think that's all my announcement. I can start to, if you are asking question on our Facebook group, you will have to click on the video and ask your question under the video, because if you just put the question directly in the group, I may struggle to answer that. So for example, I can say Amara Chabasi is asking a question, how can I locate the guide feeding section? So if you go to the guide section on the Facebook group, if you are in the main, if you are using the tab a laptop, or if you are using the full Facebook app, just go to the menu section, you see discussion, you will see guys, featured members, just below the picture, where just below the main uh, uh profile picture for the group, and where they put pictures of few of members of the group, just below that you will see all the menu icons, and guide is one of the menu icons and all that. So please don't ask that kind of a question as a comment. So that kind of question you have to post directly to the group. Then somebody can send you like a screenshots so you can easily get it. But if you have any question in the Facebook groups, right now Facebook StreamYard, we cannot stream into the groups. Facebook has blocked that, so you have to click on the video. Then you'll be able to drop your question directly under the video. Then I will see it on the StreamYard. I was able to see the ones I've answered now because I'm still checking on it, but after that, I won't see it from StreamYard hand. All right. Um, okay, Major Ever saying my 4-month baby pulls maybe 5 times in a month. And we are on exclusive breastfeeding. Is that okay? It is okay. Babies on exclusive breastfeeding may not pull every day, but when they pull, the pull is usually not hard, it's soft. And I think I've answered this your question before, because I remember showing you a stool chart. So there's nothing to worry. As long as the stool is not hard and the number of time it happens is not a problem, just keep breastfeeding exclusively. All right. So the first question from Facebook, Success Balogun, saying, why do my son have boys anytime he takes yogurt constantly? Number one, there's no link, there's no connection between boils and yogurts. So let's just sort of quickly separate that. Yogurts doesn't cause boils, and boils are due to bacteria, skin infection. So they're usually from the hands of people who touch the children, or from the children's and themselves. So when germs, bacteria specifically, are introduced into the skin pores, then they cause infection, and that's what tends to show as boils. So it has nothing to do with the food the child is eating. It's more from an hygiene perspective. So focus on the hygiene of the child, focus on washing their hands, focus on making sure people touching the child. You didn't tell us the age of your child. Always start every question with the age of the child. Make sure they wash their hands. It's important to do. But if you think that's your opinion, that you think is the yogurt making your child to have boils, then why don't you just stop the yogurts? I mean, it's not compulsory for your child to take yogurts. There are alternative ways for the child to take um milk. So if you're worried about yogurts and all that, then you can so just leave the yogurt out of the child's diet and see whether the bugs will go away, which I doubt seriously. I think what you need to make sure is to pay attention to the hygiene around your baby, especially hand washing with soap and water. Most of those things we're doing during COVID era, we need to go back to them. We need to always maintain hygiene. It has nothing to do with yogurts whatsoever at all. All right. Another question on Instagram. Let me remove the one on Facebook. Somebody said, how do you treat a 9 months old with cough? So if a child has cough, you go to the hospital. The most important thing is to know why the child has cough first. Okay, so there are different reasons why a child can have a cough. It could be an acute respiratory infection. It could be even pneumonia, in which case it tends to occur with fever, fast breathing, difficulty with breathing. Children could have cough from bronchial asthma. They can have cough from tuberculosis. They can have cough from heart condition. So there's nothing like how do you treat cough. We don't actually treat the cough, to be honest, because the cough itself is just a sign or your reflex that tells us something is going on. What we normally do as doctors is to find out why is the child coughing, and when we know why the child is coughing, then we can treat the cough. I mean, the underlying cause of that coughing. And so we need to ask a question like how long has the child been coughing for, and things like that. We need to examine the child. We need to listen to the chest of the child. These are things that we will do first. And those are the things that will help us to now know what to do. So there's no one way answer. Official Mistega, I hope you get that answer. But more importantly, I think you should just take the child to the hospital for proper evaluation, and then they will be able to tell you the cause of the cough, and then they'll be able to tell you what to do. All right, I got a question from Yabrifa Abigail. Yabrifa Abigail is asking, good evening, doc. Please, I noticed some rash on my baby's bum. I took her to the hospital. The doctor said it's nappy rash. I should stop wearing the diaper for a while, which I did, but the rash has refused to go. I was asked to use pseudo cream by the pediatrician. It's very itchy because I can see her scratching the area. Please, what can I do again? She's a year old. All right, so there are two different kind of rashes in the nappy area. So when I guess your doctor must have seen the rash, and then the doctor may feel it's the regular nappy rash, and that's why they say you should stop using change diaper, pseudo cream, and all that. That is for the regular nappy rashes and to prevent nappy rashes. However, some children actually have rashes that are infection, maybe a fungal infection in those areas. So, for example, just stopping to wear nappies or using pseudo cream is not going to take care of things like a fungal infection that is causing a rash in the nappy area. So if your child is actually having a rash that is due to infection in that area, the child needs to be treated for the infection. Most likely, most of the time, it's usually fungal infection. So your child needs to be treated for that. So what I'll recommend is that you go back to the pediatrician you're seeing and let them know that the rash has not gone. You've done what they suggested, and the rash is still there. So the pediatrician obviously will now think most likely it's more than just the everyday nappy rash, and the pediatrician can prescribe the appropriate treatment for that infection, which is what I'm suspecting. And they can also give you something to relieve the itching. That's important. Yes, and like they've told you, is for children around this age. um it's not about stopping the wearing the nappies, it's about frequency. Some of us don't tend to change the nappies often, so we need to, I know economy is not smiling, so but we need to change the nappy frequently once it is wet. It is not only when the child pulls that we change the nappy. You need to change nappy frequently, because the longer the nappy, the dirty products, the urine or the pools stay in contact with the skin, the higher the chances of irritation of the skin and infection of the skin. So, which is why it's important to change the nappies frequently. Number two, please don't use powder in the nappy area. Always use things like the pseudo cream that your pediatrician. It must be something that can create a barrier between the skin and those waste products. So you have to also always use that, and don't use them with powder. Just use either the pseudo cream or the Vaseline alone. Don't use powder at all. Then change the nappy frequently. Okay, and make sure you use nappies that are cotton based, because some nappies like have some rubber parts, and some children actually are allergic to the rubber components of the nappy or the diaper, especially if it's disposable nappies. So you also have to make sure it's something. Don't use wipes. Some children also react to the wipes, so you may prefer to use plain water for when you're washing, and wash with soap. Wash your hands as well, and those are the ways to prevent nappy rashes. But if the child already has a nappy rash, and the child is also having infection, like a secondary infection on top of the nappy rash, then that time you really need to get a pediatrician to treat the child, because the child will need additional treatment. So I hope that's helpful. For those on Instagram, if you have questions, let me know. I can't see any now, so I'll continue with those on Facebook. Thank you, Gechi, for letting me know you can see me. Success. Okay, your child is 3 years, 10 months old. Okay, the boy with boils. Yeah. So, like I said, I don't think there's any link between our boils and yogurt at all. It's more of a infection thing. So just focus on that. All right. Philomena say my son of almost 8 months old is not crawling yet. That is not a problem, because most children don't crawl at 8 months anyway, and your child is not yet even 8 months. Children crawl averagely at 9 months. That's number one. So you are just unnecessarily too worried. It's important to know what is the average time for things, so that you don't start getting worried unnecessarily. So most children have neck control by 3 to 4 months. They're able to sit with support by 5 to 6 months. They're able to sit without support, that is, they can sit independently by 7 to 8 months. They can crawl by 9 to 10 months. They can stand holding onto like a table by 10 to 11 months, and most children are walking by 1 year old. So these are the average. Okay, some children will even do it a little bit earlier, some children will do it a little bit later, but it's still within normal. So if you go to our website, we have lots of resources. One of our articles is my child development on course, is it normal, and we've told you the criteria for you to when you should be concerned. So and so what I even just told you now is the average, but then we as pediatrician, we're not going to be concerned until a little bit much later, because we know that some children can be a little bit slower, while some children can be a little bit faster. For example, though I told you that the average walking is 12 months, but I'm not still going to worry about walking until a child is 18 months. So I'm going to give some time for those who are a little bit slow to catch up. So it is when after 18 months we expect everybody should have caught up. Then that is when pediatrician will start to worry. So, and just to start something about crawling, because I get a lot of question about crawling. The truth of the matter is that crawling is one of the least useful milestone. Pediatrician, we don't worry about crawling because some children actually don't crawl, and there's actually nothing wrong with that. Some children don't even crawl at all. Some children do what we call bum shuffling. They move with their bum. They don't crawl on their hands and legs. So there are people like that. So crawling is one of those milestones that is neither here nor there, because we know some children will not crawl, and we know some children just bottom shuffle. So it's nothing to worry about. So, Philomena, I hope you are happy and reassured. Just relax. Sorry, somebody say, official Mr. Guys, at what month can a baby take yogurt? Usually, a child can take yogurt, unsweetened yogurt, even from 6 months old. That's fine. But we prefer you give the child normal milk. When I say normal milk, age appropriate milk. So breast milk for the first 6 months. After 6 months, you can continue with your breast milk. Well, some people will say they want to give formula, it's okay, but you also give other food. And if you're going to give yogurt, please give them unsweetened plain yogurt, preferably. So from 6 months, it's okay to take yogurts. Then somebody is asking, let me quickly take Instagram people's question because the question disappears. Dara Queen is, good evening, ma'am. My baby is sitting and it's putting his finger in his mouth. His temperature goes high at intervals and bring discharge from his eyes. I use warm water and salt solution to wipe. Okay, let's start by saying all these are not signs of teething, especially the fever, the eye discharge, have absolutely nothing to do with teething. Okay, child putting hands in their mouth, yes, that could be teething. Bringing out a little bit of saliva, yes, that could be teething. But eye discharge, nothing to do with teething. That is an infection going on in the eyes. And you should get a doctor to have a look at the eyes because the child may need an eye drop. All right. Fever. If your child has fever, please get a thermometer. Most of us can buy digital thermometers. It's all over the place. Use it and let us know what the temperature is. So fever for us is 37.5 and above. Anything not, because I get a lot of my child is having fever. Check with temperature. Temperature is 37. Temperature is 36.5. That is not fever. That is normal temperature. So anytime you say your baby's temperature is high, the next thing that we want to see is what is the figure. We want to see what exactly, how high is the temperature. So if it is higher than 37.5 or 38, please give paracetamol and give age appropriate dose of paracetamol. And if you check again, usually you can give paracetamol every 6 hours, but if the temperature keeps going up, then you have to take the child to the hospital. But this child that is having fever, having eye discharge, I am definitely worried about an infection going on, and that absolutely nothing to do with teething. So please get this child to go to the hospital and see a doctor. Okay, so we need to know why the child is having the eye discharge and the fever. It's not teething. Let's stop blaming teething for everything. It's something that we've been preaching against for the past 10 years, and I'm looking forward to the day where Nigerian mothers especially we will stop blaming teething for any little illness in our children. Please, it is not teething. Teething is just something that does not make your child to be sick at all. It's a normal thing for a child to bring out teeth. It's the same way they are crawling, the same way they get bigger and and taller. It's the same way they bring out their teeth. It's something that should be natural, normal. It doesn't make a child to be sick at all. So the fact that a child is sick at the same time the child is bringing out teeth does not mean it's the teething that is causing the illness. It's just a coincidence that the child is bringing out teeth at the same time that the child is having the fever. It's not a cause and effect thing at all. So, and I've written an article on why it seems to be happening, because there are a lot of things that is happening around the same time that a child is bringing out teeth. So children stop exclusive breastfeeding at 6 months. Most children start to bring out it around 5 to 7 months. Also, that's the time when children start to see, they start to touch things, they start to explore the environment. And now parents have stopped breastfeeding. All the antibodies not stopped breastfeeding, at least they are not breastfeeding as much as before. All the antibodies that is protecting the baby is going. Now baby is also more in tune with the environment. This is the time people like, baby start to play with things, touching things, and everything they touch or any toy you put in their hands, they put it in their mouth. So babies are more prone to having infection from that range age of 6 months because of that is going on. But it's not because they are teething that they are having the infection. It is because of other things going on. But if you take care of all those other things, we are making sure the environment of the baby is clean. We are still breastfeeding. We are washing their hands. We are washing their toys. We are protecting them against all those germs and all that. Then they are not going to have any infection, and it has nothing to do with teaching at all. So I hope, Dara, you got that clear. All right, let's come back to Facebook. Onye is asking, good evening, ma'am. Can a week-old baby be given water to drink? No, ma. No, please don't give baby water to drink. Baby should be on breast milk only. Exclusive breastfeeding place. Okay, so this is what we preach, this is what we teach. The only thing a baby, week old, 1 day old, 5 days old, 5 months old should take is breast milk. Okay, so for the first 6 months of life, the only thing, drink, food, everything else together, baby should take is breast milk and breast milk only. So please don't give baby water to drink. There's no reason for the baby to drink water because the breast milk is 70% water. So if you want to be sure, just take breast milk, put this in a transparent glass cup or something, or bottle, and leave it standing for maybe 24 hours. You will see it separate into two. You will see the milk residue at the bottom, and you will see the water at the top. So the breast milk is already 70% water, water that is clean, sterile. Water does not have any germs, but the water you are going to give the baby now, we don't know where it is from. We don't know how much germs is inside. Whereas the one coming from the mother, in the breast milk, is sterile. It's not going to give baby germs. So the baby does not need extra water because the breast milk already contains water. And breast milk has all the food the baby needs for the first 6 months of life is in the breast milk. It's the best food for the baby in the first 6 months of life. And also, apart from the food part, it's also protect the baby. But when you give a baby who is on breast milk water, you're actually diluting because the space in the baby's tummy is so small. That's why they need to eat frequently. That's why they have to be fed every 2 to 3 hours because they have only very limited space. But when you go give them water, the space that the food should take, you fill with water. Baby is not going to gain weight, and that's even hoping that you're giving them water that doesn't contain germs. Then the baby is going to end up having diarrhea and all that. So there's no basis to give baby water, just breast milk and breast milk only. uh that's, I hope that's clear. Let's continue. Still on Facebook, somebody's asking, Ogechi, my baby will be 5 months by this month. Okay, I've not checked her current weight. Okay, she had cough early last month, little hotness of the body. Took her to the hospital, running tests on her, no infection, no malaria. The cough came back like 2 weeks ago until now, but no hotness of the body. We're on exclusive breastfeeding. So if your baby is having recurrent cough, the question is why. Okay, obviously it's not a bacterial infection. That's why the blood test is normal. It could be a viral infection. Viral infection, the results will always be normal. But if it is happening again and again, the question is why. So one, is this child going to crash or daycare? Okay, does this child have older siblings who are going to school, who are coming back home, coughing and having catarrh and all that? Because this child must be exposed. This child is being exposed to cough and catarrh. So either one of the people in the family is having the cough and catarrh and giving it to the baby. So the child is being exposed one way or the other. So prevention is what we need to focus on. Okay, so think deeply. Are you taking the baby to the kitchen, frying in the kitchens? Those of us that really like frying palm oil and all those stuff. Are you is anybody smoking in the house, or maybe neighbors are using generator, all the fumes from generators and stuff? These are things that irritate the airway of children. So what you really need to think is, why is my baby coughing? It's either somebody is coughing in the house, or the siblings, the adults, or somebody is smoking, or you're taking baby to the kitchen with all the frying and the oil, or you're using sprays and stuff, whether perfume, whether insecticide that irritate the airway, or burning fuel, burning firewood around, or even the what's it called? Burning wood around, or even generator fumes. So you focus on all the prevention. Once you get rid of that, then the cough will go away. And I hope you're also breastfeeding exclusively, because okay, yeah, you said so. All those also will protect your baby. So breastfeeding is protecting the baby, but we also have to keep the baby away from the triggers. It's just like saying you're protecting yourself when you go and lie on the express. That will not classify as protection. So even though you are breastfeeding your baby to protect your baby, but you should also keep the baby away from people with germs. So people coughing, sneezing into the baby, we don't want that, and you want to make sure the airway is fine. Baby is weighing a 6 kilos. 6 kilos is not bad for a 5-month-old or 4-month-old when you weigh the baby. All right, yeah, brief. Happy girl. Say my baby does not like eating solid food. How old is your baby? 1 year old. Okay. And she only takes some brown. And anytime I give her egg, she vomits. Can it be that she's allergic to it? I gave her both boiled and fried. It's difficult to say. She could be allergic to egg, or she could just be intolerant. Then but your child should definitely be eating other food. The challenge, what I can see, is that sometimes some of us, when we introduce complementary food, we go for all these food that's the only thing you give your child. You give them only the Tom Brown alone, morning, afternoon, night, and then when they are getting to 1 year old, then we expect them to just suddenly change and be eating other food. It's not most likely going to happen. So what you need to do, if because just to answer your question will take a whole day, just to take a whole hour talking about complementary feeding, which we don't have time for. I would recommend you go to our Facebook group now. If you go to your Facebook group, go to the guide section. We have a guide. We have all these videos on how to go about complementary feeding, and we have lots of tips as well on how you should give your children food. The ideally is right from when you start complementary feeding at 6 months, that's when you should have started introducing all the food. It is not just giving them only what look like pap or this so-called Tom Brown, which I usually don't recommend. You have to give them the variety of food right from the beginning, so that as they get older, they get used to it. But it's not too late. Your child is still 1 year old. You have to give them the food in different the way you should mix it, the way you should texture, colors, all those things are important. So you need to focus on how to give the child that. Also, you also have to mold there. Let the child eat at the same time with you. Let them not see eating time as a punishment time for them. So there are lots of tips that we have there on help, and of course patience and persistence. So the fact that you offer a child food one day and the child didn't take it that day does not mean the child will not take it again. We usually will say offer the food at least 13 times. Most of us, we give up quickly. So you give her rice today, you didn't take the rice there, okay, that's the end for rice, then let me go and try beans. No, you the next time you offer the rice again, even if it's just 1 spoon or two, you keep doing that until the child gets used to it. The same thing, that's how you introduce new food all the time. So your child is not taking egg, you can leave it out. Though there are ways you can give egg. For example, you can break your egg into the pap for the child instead of giving all this Tom Brown so-called mixed food. It's better you make your own things separately. So make the normal pap, break your egg into it, mix it together, and make it into like the normal pap porridge, and let the child drink that. That's the way of hiding the egg inside of the pap, and the child will not even feel it. So you can also cut it into tiny bits and pieces for the child to take to eat. So go through that because it's a whole long teaching on complementary feeding, but you can just check on our group and go to our guide section. You can watch all those videos for more information. So Dara is asking, how much paracetamol do you give? The paracetamol you give depends on the weight of your child. So the dose is based on the weight, but usually even on the bottle they will tell you children so age to so age give this amount of paracetamol. So you can also use that. Or if you know the weight, then we can tell you based on this weight, this is the amount of paracetamol to give. But also make sure you check temperature first. The temperature has to be high for you to give paracetamol. Semil say my child has a rash from her hand to her fingertip. The doctor says an allergy. Prescribe hydrocortisone for itching and allergy, but the rash left scars on both arms, and the rash has appeared again. I'd rather say just go back to your doctor. So if a child is already on treatment for something, the treatment, the thing is not going or it's getting worse, the next thing to do is to go back to the doctors who saw the child earlier. I'm not quite sure the reason for hydrocortisone for a rash only on the arm and fingertips. Allergic kind of rashes tend to be all over the place unless the child is reacting to something specifically that was exposed to that arm. So if it's only the arms that is exposed to, but if it's from the whole arm, from the shoulder down to the fingertips, I'm just curious as to what would be the trigger for allergy reaction that's only on the arms. That is not the typical allergic reaction. The typical treatment for allergy is not just to put hydrocortisone, it's to figure out what is the child reacting to, what is the cause of the allergy, and then you stop it, because that is the most important thing, because which is exactly what you're telling me now. The rash has come back because you have not told us what is causing the rash. If the child is allergic to something, you need to know what it is the child is allergic to, and you need to avoid it, because that's the only way the child will be better. Okay, so the most important question for you and the doctor is what exactly is causing this allergic so-called reaction. That is if it's an allergy rash, like the doctor said. But like I said, very unusual for a child to have allergic kind of reaction only on the hands, unless you are applying something only to the hands alone. So then there we can ask, okay, is the cream you apply only to the hands alone that is causing the allergic reaction? And the solution is so simple. Just tap whatever it is you're applying that is causing the allergy. So I'm not quite convinced that this child has allergy. And allergy rashes don't leave scars on children's body, so that's another thing entirely. So because once you stop whatever the child is causing that is causing the allergic reaction, then it should stop. Unless you're talking of atopic dermatitis, which is not really, it's an allergic kind of skin condition, but it is not going to be limited to the hands or the arms. It's going to be all over the body. So the skin will be dry and rough, and all you need to do is to moisturize the skin, use only things that are hypoallergenic or natural products and all that. So I'll recommend, Emil, that you go back to your doctor and let them know that the rash has not gone or is back, and then they can maybe review it again, or better see you see a dermatologist, because when it comes to skin condition, the best person to see is your dermatologist, and then you can take it up from that. All right, let's continue. Abigail Igojo, you are still asking, she's always scratching her eyes, and after some minutes her eyes will be red, but it doesn't come with discharge. So if the child is always scratching the eyes and it's turning red, we'll think of what we call allergic conjunctivitis. Again, just like the last question I was answering, you want to know what are the trigger for an allergic kind of condition. So you need to, if you know them, you avoid them. But this allergic, if it's happening over and over again, or the eyes is actually looking brownish, which is what we tend to see in children with allergic conjunctivitis, you have to see the what's it called? You have to see the ophthalmologist. That's the eye doctors. They have some eye drop that we give for allergic conjunctivitis. But the most important thing is to actually avoid the triggers, make sure the child is washing their hands often, make sure they are not always putting their hands in their eyes and stuff like that. If you are the type that you put oil on their face, make sure that, on the scalp rather, make sure you try to avoid that, because sometimes the oil drip down the face and it gets into the eyes and it causes a reaction and they begin to itch and then the eyes get red. But sometimes for this kind of allergic condition, we may still not know the trigger. And if we don't know the trigger, there's nothing we can do. So what we do is that whenever the child is having an episode, we'll treat it. We'll have some anti-allergic eye drop that the ophthalmologist can recommend for your baby. So that's what you need to do. And so if it's okay, it's that same child you're worried could be allergic to egg. So if you think child could be allergic to egg, you can leave out the egg out of the food. But I'll recommend you see the pediatricians first so that they can, because if your child is not eating, your child needs alternate source of protein, and egg is one of the good ones. So you have to make sure you're giving her that source of protein, your fish, your crayfish, meats, and all that. There are different ways of hiding those food in the food that your child is eating. So, but you can go to our guide section, or you may want to say dietitian. They can also help you around that. Okay. Okay. She said, doctor asked me to place on vitamin C drops 0.3 minutes for, okay, your 5 days old baby. There's no need for vitamin C drops for a newborn baby. The newborn baby does not need any drugs. So the only thing you need to give your newborn baby is breast milk. Okay. We don't recommend all these unnecessary drugs that people give. The only babies that we give drugs when they are born are the preterm babies. Because preterm babies, because they were born too early, they may not have had enough iron and all those things, folic acid, and then they are still building their body up a lot. So those are the only ones we give iron and folic acid. But all these vitamin drops and stuff, they are absolutely unnecessary. You as a mother, you take all the vitamins, everything your baby needs is going to be passed from you to the breast milk. So you are the one, you can take your vitamins if you want, but everything is going to be passed to the baby from the breast milk, and baby does not need to take any additional drugs at all. The only thing baby should be taking is breast milk, only breast milk. All right. Okay, I think that's all the question I have for now. If you have questions, feel free to ask your question. Uh so feel free to ask your question and stay here for another 15 minutes or so. So since I still have time and I can expatiate on your question, Abigail, about your baby's eating. Okay, somebody has asked another question. Okay, so I'll come back to it. So Amarachi Abbas is asking, my baby of 6 months pool, it's always greenish, so she said, well, your 6 month old baby should not only be on breast milk anymore, Amarachi. Your 6 month old needs to start complementary feed. So the question is, have you started complementary feed? Once your baby eats that 6 month mark, breast milk is no longer enough. That baby needs to eat more food. So I won't be surprised the stools are greenish, because breast milk won't be enough at 6 months. Okay, so 6 months breast milk only. Beyond 6 months, we have to give other food. So your baby should start complementary feeds, Amarachi, which is what I was going to talk about. So complementary feeds just means you keep breastfeeding, but you now need to start giving other food. Other food is all the food in your kitchen. It's nothing have to be something you buy in the stores or in tins or cans or whatever. No, it's the same rice, it's the same maize, it's the same meat and fish and egg, everything you have in your kitchen. The only difference is that when you are starting to give food to a newborn, to a 6 month old, we start with what we call soft solid, usually like porridge, semi-solid, something soft, not hard like a bow apple kind of. So when you're just starting, it has to be porridge, like it has to be very soft, smooth, preferably, so that the child can take it. Then as they get older, like by the time they're getting to about 9 months, we begin to make it a little bit quartz, and then other. So then by the time they're about 1 year old, we want them to be able to eat directly from your own pots, from the household pots. So they can eat the same thing you eat, basically. That is well. And then the quantity is also different. So when we start at 6 months old, we're giving porridge, semi-solid, mash, soft, and then we're giving like three cups, half or to three-quarter of a cup, maybe twice a day, in addition to the breast milk. That's all. They don't need to eat 3 times a day like you. Just twice a day, half a cup is fine, and then breast milk for the rest of the day. By the time they're about 9 months, we make it three-quarter of a cup, maybe three, 2 to 3 times, more like three times more or to 4 times a day, and then we breast milk. And by the time they're about 1 to 2 years, we make it like a full cup, and then you can take it up to 4 times a day, and they have snacks, maybe two snacks a day. So the quantity increases, the texture increases, and until they are fully on like the adult diet. So that is what we're doing, and we want them to eat from all the different food classes. So we have different kind of food. So we have what we call energy giving food, and under the energy giving food, we have what we call the carbohydrates. So the carbohydrates can be your grains like your maize, your millets, all those ones. It can be tuber like your potato, like yam, you know. Then those are the energy giving food. Then you also have the fats. Those are also energy giving food. The fats can be your granule oil, your palm oil, your butter. Those are fats kind of food. We they don't need so much of that, but those ones, a little quantity gives so much calories. So you make your pap, for example, you can put 1 tablespoon of palm oil. That is increasing the calorie without necessarily increasing the volume. And of course, we need the protein, and the protein can be animal protein or plant protein. So animal protein like your meat, your fish, your egg, and your chicken and all that. Then you also have your plant protein like your beans, your granules, and all that. Those will also give protein. Then you have your dairy. Actually, breast milk is fine, but you can also give other dairy, your cheese, your yogurts, and all those. These are also dairy products. And of course, you have water. And of course, we have what we call the welfare food. Those are the ones that supply the minerals and the vitamins. And that is where your fruits and your vegetables come in. So your fruits, all the fruits really, just that you have to take off the seed, you can throw out the juice, and then your vegetables, your carrots, your peas, your leafy vegetables, and all that. So these are all the different food classes. So when we want to give children food, because people always say, oh, give us food timetable. I don't give people food timetable. I tell you the different food classes, tell you all the food that are in the different food classes. Now your job, based on your culture, based on your location, based on what you like, to eat, you can now take from each of those food classes and make it into meals. There are people that do a lot of all these baby food recipes and all that. If you just go online, YouTube, Instagram, you'll see so many of them. And even some of our companies, they have all these sites where they have food recipes for others. But bottom line is, once you understand the principle, you know that each time you are giving your baby food, we want minimum of 4 of the different food classes. So we want some carbohydrate there, we want some fats there, we want some protein there, we need a little bit of dairy here, we want a little bit of veggies, a little bit of the fruits, a little bit of, you don't need to put everything in one go, but at least 4 at a time. So, for example, a very common food most mothers give their 6-month-old is pap. Please, that pap should not be watery, it should be thick pap. Something that when you put on a spoon and you turn it, it's not going to fall. That is the definition of the thick, not the one that is drawn in. That's why we don't want babies to be taking complementary feed through bottles. We don't even want bottles at all, pediatricians, but definitely not beyond 6 months. So they should eat with a plate and the spoon, because when you put that porridge or that pap on the spoon, you should be able to turn it and it should not fall over. That is how thick we want it to be. So the pap made from your maize, for example, that is a carbohydrate, okay? And then you decide to break 1 egg into it. That is your protein. Then you put 1 tablespoon of palm oil. That is your fat oil. And then you mix it, and cook it on fire. And then when you're ready to give your child milk, you can express your breast milk into it. That is milk, that is dairy. Or you can use your normal age appropriate formula. That is also dairy. You can even cut like banana, mash it into it and put it into the pap. Or you can just let the child eat the banana separately after finishing the pap. That is your fruit. That is how to make that is a complete what we used to call balanced diet, but we try to move away from that word. But basically, we want it to be adequate. We want you to have different classes of food. And then when it is time for lunch, it doesn't have to be the same pap mixture again. This time around, we can decide to do potato, sweet potato, Irish one, whichever one you like. And that will be our carbohydrates. And then we can decide to use butter this time around instead of palm oil. That will be the fat. So you boil your potato, and then you put a little bit of the butter, and and then you can cut maybe your crayfish, that's your protein, or the or titus fish. You fillet it in a way, you make it into small small pieces and put it into it and stir it together, make it into like a little nice porridge, a little bit of your salt, or to give it taste. And then you can decide to have add a little bit of veggies, maybe the leaves. You can cut it into it, and that's it. That's another complete meal. So, and it's different from the one that I have for the breakfast. Different. So it's as long as you are thinking, what am I putting into this mix? And these days people have done these plates that help you to think about it. So they have a plate where you put usually the carbohydrates tend to form the bulk, 35 to 40%. The fat is usually very small, maybe 1 to 2%. Then the protein, then the veggies and the fruit can also be another bulk of it. And then that is how to make. So you can sit down on your own as a mom and make your own meal timetable based on the food you eat in your house. And it can also be things like your amala or semo, and then you make like a wedu, and in that wedu you've added your titus fish, a little bit of palm oil, a little bit of, children don't hate to eat all this spicy peppery food. No, think of what is going into the plate, and think of what class of food am I having. As long as you are putting 4 at every point in time, your child will be fine. And make sure you're breastfeeding as well. So it is about variety, because a lot of mothers just want to do pap, pap, pap 24/7. No, it's about variety. I know it's a lot more work because you can't buy your pap and you can't buy the potato, then you now buy the amala in the shops. No, because what they give you in the shop is just one thing, and that is the one thing from morning to night. That is not appropriate. Whereas if you cook from your own kitchen, it's going to be more appropriate for the baby. So I hope that is helpful. All right. My time is up. But let me just quickly answer the remaining question. Instagram people, I hope you've not asked a lot of questions while I'm away. Okay, so Major Evans is asking, my 4-month-old reflux is becoming constant. After every feed, burping, try to lift him, the food is becoming. Reflux should not be constant. Reflux should actually be getting better. So if it's becoming worse and your child is losing weight, you have to see a pediatrician, because we need to know why the child is having more reflux. All right. So Amarachi, if you started complementary feeds, then your child's stool should not be greenish unless you are now giving greenish food. If you give green veggies, for example, if you give your child a wedu, and sometimes some of them will come out in the stool and can give their child stool color green and all that, and that is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. We're not worried about that, because we know that greenish stool is not always starvation stool. Greenish stool in a child who is on breast milk only, then we will worry about starvation stool. But if your child is now on complementary food and you are giving green flavored or colored like veggies and stuff, and it still showed green, then that is still normal. It's not something we need you to worry about. Okay. Yeah, I noticed that anytime I add sugar to a pap, her stool looks like mucus. Okay, I think you're saying your child is only on Tom Brown. I think what you need to do, Abigail, is like just go and do that complementary feeding first. You need to understand how to go about complementary feeding, and your child should be eating variety, and which is exactly what I've just tried to summarize. So try that first, and then we can take it up from there. If there are other ways of sweetening your child's food, number one, if there's nothing wrong with using sugar, but please, everything in moderation. Not that you will not have so much sugar and so much milk, and that's all. No, it's just to sweeten, but it's not every food that needs sugar. So you can give other food that doesn't have sugar. I've talked about like giving your yam, giving your potato, adding your fruits and veggies. Those ones, there's no need for sugar there. So it's all about variety, which is why it's important that the child is not just only on pap or cereals, which is what we tend to get. Mother just like the cereal because it's so convenient. Just put a 2 spoons and then put water, and that's it. You're on your merry way. Whereas if you want to do veggies, you want to do all the other things I mentioned, you have to cook, you have to make amala, you have to add the wedu, you have to add the crayfish, you have to add the titus. That one is a lot more work, but that is actually better for the child. And let's make the food fresh. Let's give them fresh, no bottle feeding of cereals, everything. From 6 months, it should be the cup and the spoon, because that is where the problem starts. Then when we now get to 1 year, we suddenly expect the children to start taking with cup, plate, and spoon, and then they don't want to leave the bottle of taking cereal, their bottle and cereals, which is trouble now. So please, let's start from the beginning, cup and spoon from 6 months. Let's do it thoroughly. Go through all those guide sessions. Very lovely. You will not, you will understand everything complementary feeding, and you'll be fine after going through that. All right, somebody saying, Tare Caroline, my son is 3 years, 11 months, he weighs 20 kilos. That is too much. That's too much. 20 kilos is the weight of a 6 year old. All right, a 6 year old is the one that should be weighing 20 kilos. So a 3 year, 4 year old should be weighing 16 kilos. Sorry, let's say 16 kilos. Yeah, your child should be weighing, yeah, 16 kilos. So your child is 4 kilos overweight, so you need to work on that. Let him take out all the junk food, all the pastries, the biscuit, the juice, take them all out. Then get the child into activities. Let the child be active, run around. Let's not babysit our children with all this screen and TV and games on tablets and iPads. No, let them run around. Let them come out of the house, run around in the garden, jump around. Let them buy trampoline. Let them do all those physical activities rather than just sitting watching TV and cartoons. Those are the things that make them and eating all our junk. Yeah, just get rid of those ones. It will be fine, unless there is some other medical reasons. So if your child is eating healthy, very active, and they're see their weight is over the top, then we need to check there's no medical issue. Then in that case, you need to see our pediatrician. Gbemisola say my 14-month-old baby is so hard. That's constipation. She drinks water, she takes fruits and fruit for fiber. I'm not sure what you mean by fruit for fiber, but so are you giving her proper fruits, like normal fruits and vegetables? So that's what is important. So yeah, so your child can take laxative, definitely. Your child can take, we call them stool softener, like lactulose, Movicol, laxative. There are a lot of them. Just ask your pharmacy for them. So yes, because usually once a child is constipated, we need to treat the constipation. That constipation has the hard stools have to be let out first. Then we can now start preventing. But the one that is there has to come out. There's no alternative way. And to get that out, we need to give the stool softener to get out the hard ones. But more importantly, also let this child eat variety of food, not just cereals and milk. It has to all the veggies. It should be ewedu, okra, all those green leafy vegetables, spinach, all those ones, they should be part of their regular everyday diets. Snacks should be healthy snacks as well. All the fruits and all that will be helpful. But those ones are helpful to prevent the constipation. But if the child is already constipated, the child will need medication to get off the hard stool first, and then we can now start talking about prevention. And if you are doing the right thing and the child is always constipated, then you need to see a pediatrician, because there may be medical reasons for the constipation as well. Then official Mr. say a baby 8.5 kilos at 9 months. It's okay. That's not bad. Usually an average 9 months old should weigh 9 kilos, but 8.5 is close enough. We'll be happy with that. Somebody saying, can water be given with plate and spoon or bottle? Water can be given with cup, but it can also be depending on how old your baby is. Am I right, Chase? Is it your baby that is 6 months old? Yeah, so if you're 6 months old, just give with a cup. normal cup. You have what we call this what's the name of the name just went off my head. All these CP cup, yeah. So CP cups, there are cups that babies can use. They are like in between bottle and cups. But let your baby start getting used to normal cup. Don't start with bottle. We don't want bottle at all. Okay, there are many issues with bottle. Okay, number one is it's very difficult to clean the teeth, and most of the children get infection from them. So you have to sterilize them and all that. And if you are not thorough with that, the child can get infections from them. But normal cup is easier. Just wash it with your normal sponge and and drain it off. That's all, and they'll be fine. So, but you can use CP cups at the beginning and then graduate to normal cup. The advantage of CP cups, the child can hold it by themselves and drink it. You know those cups that have like a little bit of like a straw mouth. That's what we call those kind of sippy cup. But we don't want bottle at all. I think we're just generally anti-bottle. All right. So yes, no, let them just drink normal cup. If I let them get used to it from the beginning. And you will thank me later when you don't have to deal with trying to get rid of bottle from a 2-year-old, which some parents have to deal with. All right. Ogechi say, when should I start using fan or AC? You can use fan and AC from day one. I don't know where parents get the impression that fan and AC should not be used for babies. That is not true. The pediatrician never said that. We have newborn intensive care units. We have AC there. Okay. These are the very sick babies, and we have AC inside the NICU. That is how we keep it cool. So you can use fan, you can use AC for babies from day one. Everything is about, I mean, moderation. And you are very smart as a parent. So it's about, you know, regulating everything. So of course, if your AC is becoming too cold, you regulate it. You can put it on auto or things like that. So children can use AC, they can use fan. If you are using fan, you have to keep your windows open. It is about ventilation. It's not about the fan blowing on the child. It's about the fan. What fan does is it blows out some air and allow fresh air to come in. It's about circulation. So your windows have to be open. There has to be cross ventilation if you're using a fan, but if you're using AC, better because you can set it to regulate, you know, to appropriate temperature. Anything around 20 to 23 degrees is fine for babies, and it's fine. And if you use those like AC that have bacteria filters and stuff like that, even much better. So we don't say you cannot use AC or you cannot use fan in babies. And a lot of mothers who our babies are coming out with itch rashes because people have given us these lies and myths about don't use AC, don't use fan, and then the room is so hot and so stuffy, and then all the babies are having itch rashes, and then we don't wash our hands, and the itch rash becomes septic spots and bacterial infection. All these are completely avoidable. So just dress your baby according to the weather. In hot Nigerian weather, please use your fan, use your AC. It is completely okay. The easiest way for you to know if your child is if you feel the palms of your baby, if it's cold, then you know that it is becoming too cold. Then you can adjust. If you're using AC, you can adjust to higher temperature. If you are not using AC, you can wear more layers for the child or wear like mittens and socks if the weather is becoming too cold. If the child is becoming hot and sweaty, take out the socks and layers and let the child have some hair around them. So I mean, you are very smart parents, so you're always going to work out what is the best for your baby. All right, I guess my time is up and I have to say goodbye now. So we all know this is the time of the year. This is my last ATP Live Monday for 2024. And I want to wish you all a very Merry Christmas, a blessed 2025. ATP Monday resume again on the 6th of January 2025. So I look forward to seeing you then. So have a wonderful time with your family, with your loved ones. So this week is going to be our last week for ATP availability. Of course, our group will be open for you to check for yourself. It's just that there will be no moderators to help you check for your answers. But All right. Sorry, I think I got cut off. I just was going to say bye bye to everyone. Okay. So have a wonderful new year and we'll see you in January. All right. Take care and God bless. If you still have questions, please post your questions to our Facebook group. Bye bye, everyone.